Hi, welcome to Tyne Valley Motorhomes. I'm Callum and this is the handover of the Bailey Autograph Approach 625. So as we start, we'll walk around on the driver's side of the vehicle first. The first point we get to is what's known as your header tank. So this is your flush for your toilet. So using the Bailey key, you can open it. And then you need to fill in here with some pink solution. So you get the blue and the pink. The blue goes in the cassette, which I'll talk about in a moment. The pink goes in your header tank. So your best thing to do is carry a watering can, or you can get a small jug, tip your pink in, and then followed by the hose pipe and fill it until it fills the cistern up with water. And obviously the pink is designed to clean the cassette and the bowl of the toilet and make a nice smell in the washroom. Below you've got your cassette, so this is where everything ends up. So as long as the slide, which I'll talk about more inside the vehicle, is in the closed position, so the cassette's not engaged, the mechanism, you'll be able to lift the handle and slide the cassette free of the vehicle. You've then got a handle so you can drag it when it's full to your waste disposal point, which is beside your toilet block on site. And to empty, turn the spout, take the cover off, press the button and tip out. This button allows a bit of air in, gives it a consistent flow. And once you've emptied it, there's normally a tap there, so you put some water in and give it a final rinse before you then fill back up with the blue or the green chemical, which is 125 ml in this cap, into here, and it's good to go back into the van. Or what you can do if you're using the tablet forms, which saves a bit of space on the vehicle, so you're not storing two large jugs of chemical, put a pint of water in, or you can push it in completely bone dry and then flush a pint of water in, followed by a tablet in the cellophane format, and that'll break down into the liquid. Coming further back, you've got your LPG, so again the Bailey key will open all the locks. And this is where you have your gas bottle. So you can fit two 6 kilogram gas bottles, so you can fit one at the back, one at the front. You've got a strap here to strap the bottle on board once you've got... So this is just our test bottle that we're testing the van with. You'd strap it in. Strap your bottle in, and then to connect the pigtail to the top of the bottle, it's a left hand thread, so opposite threads with it being gas. So, and then you can turn on and off from the top. So if I take it off, it's off, and then you push it in and turn it to the left, screw on, and then you can turn the bottle on and off from the top. Turn it off before you hit the road so that it is safe when you're traveling. And then you've got your spare bottle at the back, and you've also got on your regulator a little green button which is called a crash sensor here. So you can push that in for 3 seconds once you've turned the gas on. It explains it on there, just so it allows the gas into the vehicle, because if you're struggling to get gas through, obviously your crash valve might have stopped the gas from coming through the vehicle. Vision Plus TV point, so should you go to a super site, carry some coax and an adapter. This is the F type connector, so you'll need the female end to go onto there, and then you can connect to their aerial if you are struggling to use your aerial on the motorhome and get a good enough signal. You've got your Aldi flue for your boiler. So this indicates where the boiler is on board the vehicle, which is on the back lounge seat. So this just allows the fumes out when operating on gas and electric. Obviously on electric it has a lot less fumes than gas, which is on here. And then to fill the vehicle with water, this is your water filler point. So you've got two fittings. You've got a fitting that's used on a caravan, which goes to a submersible pump, which is where you would put it into a bucket of water, an aqua roll, and stick this end in here turn on internal tank fill and suck the water in. So if you are wild camping or you couldn't get the vehicle close enough to a hose pipe but you could wheel a barrel of water to the vehicle, you can use that one. Or if you are on site, you can use this connector, which you'll probably use more than the submersible pump one. So clips on, so I'll just show you that again. So it clips on the vehicle like so. This end goes to the tap. It's a short piece of pipe, so you might need a connector and then carry a longer hose pipe to reach the tap that's on site, and you can fill the vehicle with water that way. That's mainly the most common way on a motorhome you'd fill. This is more for if you go off grid. As it's a submersible pump, it's more for caravans rather than motorhomes. Come round the back of the vehicle, you've got your twin lens reverse camera, your high level brake light, and storage underneath the back lounge. FVMA awning. Mains hookup point. This is where you'd hook the vehicle up with mains power if you are charging it at home. Charging the battery a few days before you go away, putting the fridge on, you'd use your mains hookup. Or if you are on site, you'd obviously hook it up because you've paid your site fees. So you get your hookup lead, lift the collar, pop it on there. Always hook the motorhome up first and then the power source. And when you hook up, you'll hear the microwave kick in. If you've got it switched on, it'll beep, which just means you're receiving 240 volt power. And when unhooking, unhook the site first and then press the blue clip to release the pins in the hookup lead before pulling the hookup lead out. Fridge vents, your awning light above the door. Obviously your door is on the central locking. Mains power, or what am I saying? Diesel even. It's been a long Friday afternoon. Pop your key into here. And then you can fill with diesel. And it is lockable. Tyre pressures, so these are Bailey's cooled tyre pressures, so it tells you your tyre size. 625 is the model. 60 psi on the front and 80 psi on the back, which has been configured for a motorhome. Toolkit underneath the seat, which includes a jackknip brace and a towing eye. So everything you need if you need to change a wheel or be towed away. But if you need to change a wheel, call the RAC. Don't do it yourself. It's a big job trying to get a wheel changed on a motorhome at the side of a busy road. Battery underneath this panel, so if you ever need to replace it or put a charger on, you can just lift the panel off and connect to the top of the battery. And bonnet release on the side of the dashboard. So you've got your screen wash, then this cover lifts off and you'll be able to fill your power steering fluid, your coolant, your brake fluid, your oil filler and your dipstick. An earth for giving or receiving a jump start as the battery's underneath the cab floor. And then using your key, if you just pop your key down here, you'll be able to lift the cover up behind the passenger headlight and expose the terminal for the positive for giving or receiving a jump start. Weight plate, so 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight, that is your laden weight. 5.5 ton if you were to put a tow bar on, so the motorhome and whatever you're towing can't exceed 5.5 ton, which gives the vehicle a 2 ton towing weight. To drain off your used water, so this is anything that you've put down a plug hole in the kitchen sink, the hand basin in the shower, you drive over a grid, turn this down and then you'll want to turn the front and drain off all your wastewater. You'd normally do that over a grate on the way out of your site called the motorhome service pitch. So once on board the vehicle, this is your 12 volt control panel. So if you're hooked up, you'll get mains 230 volt. If you aren't hooked up, you'll just get 12 volt off your leisure battery. So you've got your master switch here, which turns the vehicle off and on. Obviously it'll turn off the 12 volt or mains power should you be hooked up or not hooked up. Next to it you've got the pump. So should you have enough water on board, you can turn your pump on and it'll pressurise the water through the taps, toilet and shower. Ensure that you've got enough water on board before you turn the pump on, otherwise you can burn the motor out if there's no water on board. Master switch for your lights, so you can turn them on and off, and then they all are individually switched around the motorhome. And you've got the awning light, which is on the outside of the vehicle. You notice you can scroll through here, so if you've got your time, you can view your fresh water. So it tells us that we've got 58% of fresh water on board, 0% waste. Tank fill is if you're going to use the 12 volt submersible pump into a container, an aqua roll, to fill your water. You need to turn that on. So you just press enter and it'll start filling. Water source, so you're using your internal tank because it is a motorhome, it's not a caravan, so it's got an internal tank. If you are using an external tank such as an aqua roll, that's when you can then swap it over by pressing enter and it'll go to external tank, but you just want it on the internal as it's got an onboard water tank. You've got your external temperature, your user guide, you can enter that and go through your settings. You've got your internal temperature. The battery selection, you always want the motorhome to be run off the leisure battery, never the vehicle battery, as it can flatten the engine battery, and it's not designed to run the leisure side, the leisure battery is. You've got the ampage currently coming off your battery, and you've got your leisure battery voltage reading. To operate the Aldi heating and hot water panel, turn on and off via the left hand on and off switch, and then to enter the menu, press menu. So you've got at the top a picture of a house with a thermometer in, so this is how hot you want the inside of the motorhome to get. So you've got all the way, you can go plus and minus, and you can go all the way up to 30 degrees being the maximum temperature it'll go up to, and it'll go up in half increments, so 0.5, and then below you've got your water. So if you haven't got any hot water on board or any water in the boiler or water on board, you wouldn't have the hot water on, you'd just have the heating on. If you've got water on board and your boiler has got water in it, you can then put your heating on, which is half a bar. So that'll heat the vehicle and heat the water together. Should you go to a full bar, it will stop the heating and prioritise the water. So this is what's known as boost setting. So, but for this we'll want to heat the vehicle and heat the water together. This is your energy source on electric, so how many kilowatts you're using of heating the water and electric, heating the water and the vehicle on electric even. So you've got 1 kilowatt, which is 750 watts. 2 kilowatts, which is 1500 watts, and then you have got 3 kilowatts. So it all depends on what ampage the site gives you, whether it's 10 or 16 amp, whether you use 1 or 2 kilowatts. Normally on smaller CL sites and airs you will have to use 1, but on most camping and caravan clubs throughout the UK you can use 2 kilowatts. And then should you be wild camping, obviously you wouldn't have any electric because you're parked in the middle of nowhere. You'd have to heat the vehicle and the water off gas, which is this bottom switch here, and that'll heat the water on gas. You can use the gas and electric on together as well on 1, 2 or 3 kilowatts, which will reduce the time it takes to heat the hot water and the vehicle, more so in the winter. Clicking the spanner settings, you can set timers and things, but that's all explained in the handbooks and on Aldi's videos, so you can put Aldi heating panel in. There's loads on YouTube. I'll not complicate it, but I will show you how to reset it. So you can press reset if you want to reset, and it'll reset the panel. Should there be something that's not working, should the hot water only be showing a full bar, not 2 stage settings, you've just got to reset the control panel, and that happens from time to time on all motorhomes. So now in the kitchen, you've got one electric hot plate, which is the left hand side dial, which will operate when on mains power. You'll be able to use the electric hot plate, so you'll not be able to waste your gas. Use the hot plate if you've paid your site fees. And then you do have 3 additional gas rings that are all lit. Allow the hob to cool down before you put the glass lid down, in case you shatter the glass. And then below you've got grill. Remove this when travelling because it can rattle, or wrap it up in several tea towels to stop it from vibrating. And then you do have your oven underneath as well. And again, with these you might want to wrap them up or cover them. Pressing the panel in, you've got some storage underneath. You've got your plug for your fridge and your hot plate at the back. 3 red gas valves, which are isolation taps, which are mainly for when the vehicle is serviced. Turn the gas off to be safe, but they do the oven, the fridge and the water heater on here. You've got your microwave above, which is a 800 watt mains power microwave. And storage. Plug for your microwave if you ever need to remove it, replace it. If it's acting up, you can unplug it. Cutlery drawer. Storage, you've got your draining board there and some slide out racks. Top rate your Dometic Fridge, which is a 3-way fridge, so this is your 3-way selector. So off at the top, turn down to the first one, which looks like a plug. This will act as a household fridge when hooked up, so if you're on a site, don't waste your gas, use the hookup. If you're at home, pre-chilling the van, a couple of days before, you'll want to probably hook it up to charge your leisure battery. Put your fridge on, allow that to cool down on electric, and then the night before you'll want to put your shopping in. If you're going on a longer journey and you plan to take shopping with you, not pick it up on the way, and pre-chill it overnight. And then what you can do is, when you're ready to move off, start the engine. Obviously unhook yourself, start the engine up, turn it to the battery setting. The battery setting is from the engine alternator, from the vehicle battery, and what that'll do is it'll keep the temperature the same when you're travelling. So if it's pre-chilled, great. If you're moving from site to site, put on the battery, your shopping will stay nice and fresh until you arrive at your next site, and you can either go back to mains electric, or if you're wild camping, you go down to gas, which is the bottom one. This is your selector for your temperature, so when pre-chilling, have it maxed out. When you put your shopping in, just turn it down slightly so it doesn't freeze the fridge. But once you turn on to gas, what you've got to do is select your temperature, push the valve in and press the spark igniter, and then you want to look. You want this orange band to go into the green. Once it's in the green, it is then lit and you can let go, and the fridge is lit on gas. What you want to do as well when not using the vehicle is take everything out of the fridge, give it a clean out with some antibacterial sprays and wipes, and then leave the door open. So to leave the door open, to stop smells and things from forming and that clean air to get trapped. Push the catch in on the light, slide it out, the 2 pins will come out the lugs. As you can hear there, the door's not shut fully. You can get air circulation in and out the fridge and the freezer box, which is built in at the top. And then, like I say, once your orange band's into green, this is your fridge lit on gas, as this is your gas level indicator for your fridge. Underneath the floor panel by the fridge is where your leisure batteries live. So you've got two 110 amp hour batteries there. So one fully charged leisure battery, if you're wild camping, should last you 3 days if you use it correctly. So you've got two, so off grid you could last 6 days without mains power. In the washroom, you've got your hand basin, so as long as the pump's on, you'll be able to get a pressurised water flow, and that water is starting to pick up the temperature there. And below, you've got toiletry space, toilet roll holder, 2 hooks for towels or coats, your light switch on the cord, some more hanging hooks, and your shower screen. So always tie them back before you travel so they don't rattle about and annoy you when you're on the road and cause any damage. And with your shower head, we always recommend that you unscrew it from the hose in the winter when winterizing the vehicle and not using it, and allow the hose to lie in the tray, because at present water could be sitting in here and it could potentially freeze and split this pipe. And leave all your mixer taps throughout the vehicle open. To operate your toilet, freshwater flush is from the main tank, so you press the blue button and you'll get flush. So flush the toilet first, which lubricates the seal between the toilet and the blade, and then slide this to the right. Use the toilet now with the blade open. Everything will go down in the cassette and nothing will leak into the cassette locker. And then what you want to do is you want to flush after use. If you've bought the blue and the pink liquid together, obviously there's nowhere to use the pink liquid, so what you can do is, if you dilute it into a spray bottle, spray the bowl first, then flush, and then slide the blade back to the left, close the blade, and that'll allow you to get the cassette out the outside of the vehicle when it comes up with a light here to say that the cassette is full. In the wardrobe you have your TV aerial, so always make sure that when you're travelling or before you set off to travel, that your aerial is pulled in and the nut is securely fastened to stop the wind from getting underneath the aerial and causing any damage. Loosen it off if you're struggling to get a signal, push up and use the toggle on the bottom to direct the aerial on the roof. But the best thing is to do is to look where all your other motorhomes and caravans are pointing on your site. On the back you've got a Vision Plus finder, so green means it's found a signal, orange means it's got a weak signal and you may need to use the booster to amplify that signal, and red means it hasn't, so that's when you would start just readjusting the aerial. You'll also notice you've got your Aldi expansion tank in here, so you can fill it up with antifreeze, Aldi antifreeze from the top. Always fill it up when the system's off, as it's an expanding liquid, but the liquid's lifespan is 5 years, so every 5 years you need to completely drain and change this. You can't get this done by us or any other motorhome and caravan dealer or service centre, but always top it up and view the true reading when the system is off. So in the back U-shaped lounge, to make your bed, just underneath the cushion there you can slide the lats out. Slide them out all the way and then put the backrests on either side into the middle there. And you do have an infill cushion as well, so you can either put that in the back or in the centre here. And there you can see you've got a double bed across the width of the back of the motorhome. So in the tank, in the floor, which is your fresh water, to drain that off, there's a plug hidden, so it looks like it hasn't got one. It has. You need to pop your hand in, bring the chain out, grab a hold of the red rubber bung in the bottom, and pull it out, and that'll drain off the fresh water in the winter to stop it from freezing, or if you've taken on contaminated water. So underneath your driver's side rear lounge, you've got your table, which you can lift out. That stores away in there, use outside if it's a nice day, or inside freestanding. Like I was saying, from outside, your water inlet's there, and then your Aldi boiler flue's there, so that indicates that the boiler's here. So to drain it off in the winter, to stop the water from freezing in this when we get colder climates. In the summer you can leave it in. When we get warmer weather you don't have to drain it down. It's when we're going to experience frost you've got to drain it off. In the back here there is a yellow drain down toggle tap, which is called your winterization tap. It's lying down now, which means that the boiler can hold 10 litres of water. If I was to lift that up on two end, it'll stand up and it'll drain the whole 10 litres out of this cylinder directly out underneath the vehicle. You then want to pull the bung out the floor for the fresh, open the waste outside, which is around here, open all the taps into the middle position of the mixer to stop any water from coiling up in there, and it'll stop any airlocks, and remove your shower head from your hose by unscrewing it and lying that down in the tray. This will stop any water from freezing in any pipelines, any boilers, any tanks, and it will stop a lot of damage being caused, which it will be expensive to repair or replace a boiler, tank or pipework, because it's hidden. It'll take a lot to remove furniture and things. So drain it all down, and then when you come to reuse the vehicle, pop the drain down toggle back down so it's being stood up on end, lie it back down, put the bung back in the floor, in the tank of the floor, underneath the floor for the fresh. Shut all the taps, assemble your shower head back together, then fill the vehicle up with fresh water via a hose pipe or the pump, depending on if you're near a hose pipe or not. And then come in, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first. You'll get an automatic pressurized cold water feed from the tap. Then go to the hot side, it'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises until you get a free flow of water from the hot side on one tap. Then do them all, and then your system is then primed. So now in the cab, so first of all, to the right of the driver you have your handbrake, and then on the doors you've got driver and passenger electric windows, and then you can choose which mirror you want to adjust on the mirror, electric mirror adjuster here. So you've got the top one and the bottom one, so you've got two mirrors each side, the bottom one being the blind spot. And then next to the driver's, to the right of the driver's wheel even, you've got headlight adjustment and rear fog lights. Wiper stalk, which has got your trip computer on the end of the stalk. So that'll go through this screen here. It'll tell you your range, your average and instant consumption, your distance travelled, your time taken to travelled, and then when you want to reset it, trip A and B, you would just press and hold. And then you do have your lights and your indicators. And this one's just your cruise control. So you first of all you turn it on and you'll get the little green light which says cruise control on. Get your desired speed and push up to set. Once you've got it set, you can push up to speed up, pull down to slow down, cancel it if you want to turn it off, or you can cancel with the foot brake and then push back up to reset it. Mute and volume. Answer and decline a call. This will scroll through your tracks on the radio, so your radio stations as doesn't take a CD, your contacts and your audio via a USB or auxiliary input. 6-speed manual gearbox with lift the collar into reverse, brings on the reverse camera here. But when I go back to neutral, this always stays on so you can see behind you at all times. ASR off is just anti-slip relief, so it's another word for traction control. So if you are skidding on wet grass, if it's rained overnight and you're stuck on the wet boggy field, turn it off. Hazards, locks the doors, so it locks the cab doors and the habitation door as it's on the central locking, and you do have heated mirrors. 2 12-volt points for charging, auxiliary input and USB here for the radio. Temperature on the left outside ring and fan speed on the in. Must be on at least 1 or more for the aircon to work. And then you've got on the right outside ring the distribution, so face, feet, screen, demist setting, and then whether you're bringing fresh air in or you're recirculating air within the motorhome. Your radio is FM, AM and DAB, so you just press radio to scroll through the 3 different types of radio stations, and then you can scroll through your radio stations here and press 1 to 6 to save your favourites. Media, of course, is USB or auxiliary, and then it is Bluetooth enabled, so if you press phone, you'll be able to connect your device. So press enter. You want to find my car on your phone in your Bluetooth settings, pair with that, it'll come up, would you like to pair on your phone, just press pair. It'll ask you if you want to save your and download your phone book, just press allow, and then it'll sync all your contacts into the vehicle and you can scroll through your contacts. To black your windscreen out, pinch the Remus car blinds and bring them together. Like so, and then pinch the side blinds on the driver and passenger door. And you'll notice it blacks the cab out on an evening.